Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the podcast, The Hero in the Mirror. This podcast serves as a reminder that heroes aren't that hard to find and that you are the hero in your journey. This podcast serves as a reflection to acknowledge all of your small wins and all of your accomplishments. With us today, we have a special celebrity guest appearance, the man, the myth, the legend, Leigh Cambre. Leigh's a small business coach, speaker, and mastermind leader for fierce and fabulous founders, especially LGBTQ plus and women entrepreneurs, those who are ready to lead with clarity, confidence, and real systems. As a founder of Flashes of Brilliance Coaching, he helps business owners refine operations, empower teams, and reclaim their time. A certified professional coach, energy leadership master practitioner, try saying that a couple times fast, and certified Enneagram professional, Leigh brings real world experience from building and selling two NYC luxury hospitality staffing companies. His speaking and coaching inspires entrepreneurs to build freedom filled businesses that truly reflect who they are. Leigh, I want to thank you for your time here today and coming on this episode.
My goodness, thank you for that amazing intro. Oprah always used to say that she wants everyone to experience what it's like to walk into a room where everyone is just cheering them on. I get the same feeling whenever someone reads the bio. I'm just like, I did a good job writing that bio. It feels so good to be read out loud.
You did a good job of getting all of those accomplishments under your belt. I think you're a black belt in entrepreneurship and a coach, man. And I appreciate your time here today.
That is
But
really kind of you. I appreciate you inviting me, and I'm humbled to be a part of anybody's story. So thank you very much for the invitation.
absolutely, we'll jump a little bit into your story. You have all these great accomplishments, but let's get down to brass tacks. What were some of those biggest obstacles that you overcame as you were accomplishing all of these great milestones?
This is the journey of a lifetime for me. So some of the thing I'm going to drop right away is that Enneagram professional part of it speaks volumes into context in what is going on with me. And this is, in my learnings, true for everyone. For me, as a 7, the 7's journey is often about feeling as good as possible as often as possible, because the famous 7 phrase is, why feel bad when you can feel good? And so while that's awesome and feels great when it works, there are hard times in life. And those hard times, I did a masterful job of avoiding and moving around or changing the theme of it. And so the journey of being an entrepreneur is hard. And
Absolutely.
it was a life's journey for me to finally get to the place of, in 2013, starting a business, which at that moment was kind of exciting. Like, here I go. An owner of one of the staffing companies says, "Hey, Leigh, I love how you work. Do you have any staff?" And I said, "Yes." And then I had a company. And so that moment was exciting. But man, did that novelty wear off. And I had to push through from that year on with all of the hard work that goes along with what it means to be a business owner, to not only found a company, but to grow it, to keep it successful, and to keep that journey going. It was so hard. And I mean, if you could sit my therapist down, my goodness, she would tell you that's all it was talking about how hard it was to get there. And one of the biggest turning points and overcoming moments for me was learning that the story of my personality, which is that everything needs to be great, is just a story. And the way through it is not to change the voice inside of me, but instead to recognize it's just a voice. And so before I realized what all of the hard work it would take to get there, the parallel journey here for me was about working out. There is no shortcut to getting muscle on your body. Just like trying to farm, you have to till the soil, sow the seeds, water, have patience, and keep working on it. And that is the same that I read in the little black workout book of motivation, probably book number 20 for me, of reading about working out, where I instinctively was trying to make it fun working out. And I couldn't do that. It's not going to be fun for someone like me. And then it finally clicked. I just have to go. I have to stop listening to that voice telling me, oh, come on, how can you make it fun? I've stopped listening to that and just go. And for the past 4 years, I've gone to the gym consistently 3 to 4 times a week because I just did it. And that same way of thinking is how I was able to start a business and to succeed at it, so much so that last year I replaced myself as CEO, I joined the board, and then I sold the company because I just kept putting in the work. And that was the like, oh, I see it now. I got it. I don't have to change the voice. I just have to move forward anyway.
And I also took part in the Enneagram assessment, and I'm also a 7. And a lot of what you
Woo!
and a lot of what you say really resonates with me. It's the finding the fun ideas, the brainstorming. That's all great, but when it's time to get down to action, you almost have to turn a switch on to say, "Hey, it's time to do some work. It's time to put in some elbow grease,
Yep.
roll up your sleeves, and get to it." And sometimes it's just powering through those actions that need to be done, the administrative work, the boring stuff
The
that's
boring
got to get
stuff. Exactly. Our nightmare, we're our kryptonite. Boredom.
oh
Oh,
yeah. But how can I make this fun? But also, what needs
yes.
to be done? What needs to
That's
be
right.
accomplished? And on that note, how did you stay motivated through the adversity of being an entrepreneur? Because every day it's something new. I swear.
Oh my goodness. Well, and so like for the everything new part, there was the novelty of, and so just for some context, I had a temporary hospitality staffing company. That's what I
Okay.
started. I had
Yeah.
worked in events since 2008, started a temporary hospitality staffing company in 2013. And so I just kept that going until 2024, last year. And so what I was doing throughout that was just showing up. Now, before I realized that the voice was something that I could stop listening to, I used the tool of rationalization, which and so again, this Enneagram context really woke me up. As a 7, we overuse this. Whenever we see pain, we will rationalize the pain away and say, oh, well, that happened because, and it keeps us in our positivity. But at some level, it doesn't solve it. And we know that. And so it's just this kind of like under pain that just hangs there because we don't want to actually face the difficult thing of understanding that, for example, for me, that the company is just not what I want to be doing. I don't want to do all this work. I didn't want to face that. So I kept rationalizing and making it fun. And what is it going to be? But I'm happy to tell that story because, again, the notion with Enneagram is as a 7, you overdo the 7 things, but all the other types can learn from the other types. So all the other types can learn this skill because they're likely not doing it. And it is something that can be helpful for them. And so this tool of rationalizing and saying it doesn't have to just be that negative feeling is a gift for others. For 7s, it's something to just be aware of how much you do it. For every other type, it's a question of, you know what? Could I rationalize this? Could I just turn it into something logical versus something emotional for me to help me get over it? And so for me, prior to even recognizing what it was rationalization. And then once I woke up to what the 7 personality paradigm wiring within me was doing to me,
Hmm.
I finally said, you know what? It's time. I need to sit with the difficult emotions. 7s have that belief of unconsciously that if we get to that painful moment, it's going to last forever. And so that's why we avoid it. And so I first had life hit me with a big midlife crisis moment that I couldn't avoid and I could not rationalize away. So I had to live through that. And then after that was more and more life opportunities that I had continued to rationalize away, that I realized, oh, wait, I, like all the other non-sevens, am strong enough to deal with adversity. And so the way to succeed and be resilient is through it, to instead of avoiding it. Instead of the seven thing of dipping our toe in it, oh, that was uncomfortable, let me rationalize that away. It was instead let the water rush over. And it won't be like this forever because all feelings pass. That
Yeah.
was huge for me to
So,
understand.
I mean, it sounds like Enneagram is definitely a foundation for you to understand your personality, a personality assessment. Maybe for our viewers, if we can dive a little bit more into this Enneagram framework, and
Yeah.
really, if they're interested in getting their own kind of personality assessment.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I am so passionate, as Fidel knows. I could talk about it all day because not only is it fascinating, it is so useful. And the phrase you used is a great way to swallow it, which is personality assessment. I would offer that it's deeper than that because all of the personality assessments out there, like the most common one, Myers-Briggs, but there's also DISC, there's also Hogan assessment, and there's many, 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 many others. And they're all lovely and useful because they all help with self-awareness. Enneagram is different because it is not describing the outward performance of personality. It's not describing the behaviors. Enneagram is describing the unconscious motivations, the core fears, and inner desires from which personality is birthed. And so you and I, as both sevens, have the same unconscious motivations, core fears, and inner desires, but our personalities are going to blossom differently. And that's what makes you and I unique in every expression and fingerprint world. We're unique fingerprints, and everyone is. But underneath it, what's driving us is highly similar. And so I love that notion because it allows for so much diversity of thought, action, and being, including personality. And it's been, I do want to say, it's a metaphor like every other system. But for me, it has been the most powerful metaphor I've ever experienced. I tried for a year and a half to disprove it so that I could, like, I wanted to make sure this is something good. And I kept
Really?
finding it more and more helpful every time I did it. And I was not able to disprove it. Everyone kept aligning with each of these notions and ideas. And I was like, oh, got it. This is going to be the one.
And
Huge.
one part is taking, the Enneagram kind of questionnaire and assessment, but like how you mentioned, it's looking really critically at what the results are, and almost like
Mm-hmm.
a call to action to say, great, these are your results. What works well? What doesn't work well? What are areas that you need to improve? And it gives you that non-subjective type of results where it's just like, hey, this is you.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
how you're wired. But there are areas for if someone were interested in taking their own, getting their own Enneagram results, where would you recommend that they go? Contact you, or is there a platform that they can
Yes.
we can provide a link to?
There, so the short answer is go to my website, leighambre.com, leighambre.com. I don't make money on the assessment. It is at cost for me to offer it. But it is so powerful. I'm happy to not make money on this. That is the one I offer is called the CP Compass Test. And it is the best in class assessment you can get because the understanding of Enneagram is changing daily. And so this assessment that is on my website is the best one that helps you get to what we call subtype, which is really what you need to know because so many people are mistyped when they're just doing these free, the free tests. a little more than 50% accurate. Most other tests are like 60 to 70% accurate. There are some that are about 90. This is one of them that's more than 90% because of subtype. And the reason is when you add instinct to type, it might make you look like another type. And so if the assessment's not capturing that, you might be told you're one type and really you're another kind of thing. And so this is a way to guide you toward your type. Case in point for the assessment that's on my site, the best you get when you finish the assessment is you are likely type blank. What that means and the purpose of that is it's still up to you to figure this out and decide if that's what's going on. So here's the assessment, getting you really close, but still you're reading through it going, is that what's going on? Is that what, if it is, great. We found type. That assessment also includes your second most likely type at the bottom. Again, the whole point is this is your journey. Only
Yeah.
you are going to know.
Yeah.
And this is another reason I'm obsessed with it. I'm like, I love that. It's not sitting here going, I'm the authority. And that's what every other assessment does. Every other assessment, I'm the authority and here's what you are. This best in class assessment says you're likely this, but it is still your life and your journey. And I'm obsessed with that.
Thinking more about Enneagram, it sounds like a great tool for self-reflection and growth.
Oh my
Did I hit
goodness.
that? Did I hit that?
It is a psycho spiritual tool that once you find out your subtype, that is just the entrance into the amusement park. Now it's time to get on the rides and figure out what else is going on and who else is playing in this
Yeah,
amusement park.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Good. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate all the insights. Now I'm actually going to take a second look at my Enneagram results and really, really dig a little bit deeper into those results and really what they mean for me for my growth and my own self-reflection. So I
And
appreciate
I
it.
can't wait to hear all about your
Yeah.
deep dive as you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me know
Maybe.
everything because I could
Yeah.
talk about this
Maybe I'll have a
forever.
separate episode on my own self-reflection on my Enneagram results and what stood out, what really resonated with me, and maybe items that didn't, and items that I want to challenge. Maybe.
I would love nothing more. Let me
Yeah.
know. That would be great because it is one of those things. And just even talking to you about you sharing what you're experiencing will be so enlightening for others. It would be
Yeah.
huge.
Good. Especially, with the theme of this podcast being your hero's journey. Have another tool in your Batman utility belt as you go through that
Absolutely.
journey. Yeah, and figure out, your strengths and your weaknesses, and really, some of the things that make up your personality.
That's right.
With that said, going back to your hero's journey, tell me, I'm going to challenge you a little bit. Tell me about a time you felt like giving up, but you kept going.
How many times can I get? I mean, like everywhere. Anytime I was bored, okay. Wait. Is is the story when I felt like giving up and didn't give up? Okay, that's going to be okay. Here's the my best example, and it's the one I just told, but I actually will frame it with the one I did give up on. I moved to New York to be a performer. That's what I came here to do, and I had zero training. I did show choir in high school. I did show choir in college, and I came here and I was like, I'm gonna get on Broadway, y'all. And okay, I worked professionally. I did some, never Broadway. I did get up for a national tour, and the casting director that was up there, his name is Bob Klein. After I auditioned, he pulled me aside. He's like, Leigh, I really like you. I see on your resume there's no classes, and I could tell you're acting. So just take some classes. What did I do? I gave up. I was like, I'm done. Next. Let's move on to the next thing. And
Yeah.
then I started my own, like, I had a talk show for a year on a now defunct program and production studio. And then it got hard and I gave up. And this pattern happened all the time until I started my staffing company. And it was 2013. That was the first time that I felt like boy, did I feel like giving up. I felt like giving up, but I said, Leigh, this is your chance to prove it to yourself that you can do hard things. So let's see. And so with that, for the first time, I leaned into practicality, pragmatism, and delayed gratification. And I said, the payoff for this is going to be in the long term. It is that all the stuff you're doing is a learning lesson that you will be able to help others with in the future. And that light messaging was enough for me to then quiet all the rest of the voices. They were always there, but I just put my head down and got to work. And one of the keys for me was constantly and also having a good time. And another part of this as well for me that's huge is boundaries. I have always had really, really strong boundaries, in particular in terms of taking care of myself. I could not have done this had these very strong boundaries not been in place. And so, what that looked like for me as an entrepreneur was I would work my 9 to 5 ish schedule. It wasn't that, but like the equivalent of my 9 to 5, and nights and weekends are for me. So, and there's no exceptions to that, so that I can take care of me, and therefore I can do a great job taking care of others. Because if I'm not taken care of, I'm going to shut down. And that to me is the reason I was able to have such a big capacity for me, what I would use the word for me, pain. It was painful being an entrepreneur and sticking with it. But I took care of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a little bit of that foundation for mental and physical health, that really helps a lot, especially if you're tackling on a new entrepreneur journey. That's going to require a lot from you, a lot from you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And with that in place, and thank you for your honesty there and saying, yeah, you know what, I have given up. I had given up on a couple things.
Hmm.
I acknowledged this pattern, like you had mentioned, and I'm not going to let it happen again. So learning from those experiences of like, you know what, I could have done something here, but I gave up because it got too hard. I
That's
could
right.
have done something through this route, but I gave up. And then and then almost like the third time, you're like, not gonna happen anymore.
Yeah, third
Let's
is nice. I
let's
only
kick
told
let's
you
kick
2 of
this
them. It was
inside.
probably like 20. It was 2025, and then I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, this time."
Through some of your most current endeavors, what role has support systems like family or mentors played in your journey? Does Leigh have himself have a coach? Is there a
Oh,
dynamic?
yeah. Oh my, I have an accountability buddy, I have a therapist, I had a business coach for that company I talked about, and a business coach for my coaching practice, so that I had these outside support systems. Without these, I would not be sitting here with you. It was that accountability and support that got me as far as I got, especially because no one is meant to do anything alone. We are social creatures, and our genius is going to be hidden by the layers of, as Sandler sales training teaches, their phrase is called head trash. All of us have head trash. All of us have patterns. All of us have family systems we come from that purposefully keeps down our greatness. And so to have a coach is to have a space and a support system to allow your inner genius to come out. And I knew this intuitively, but then after getting certified as a coach in 2011, I had a framework for exactly what that looked like and a lived experience of there's nothing better than having a neutral source that is trained in how to hold space for your genius so that it can finally flow consistently, and to have a regular check-in with that support system so that you can continue to have even more genius come out. It is a non-negotiable for me to have multiple support systems for each vertical and lane in my life, for
That's
sure.
that's really great to hear. And yeah, if you want to accomplish those milestones of success, like you mentioned, you don't have to do it alone. There's lots of areas for support that can be found, such as yourself, and the work that you do with coaching and helping other entrepreneurs through their journey, through what you've learned, and then through Enneagram as well. Appreciate it.
Oh, of course, my
Uh,
pleasure. And
Great. I
I would
have a
say you don't have to, it's that everyone needs support. How it looks can look differently from mine for sure. No one does it alone.
Yeah. With all of your great accomplishments and all the work that you're doing right now, how do you define success? And how has that
Hmm.
definition evolved over?
I For me, success has constantly been about my happiness and my contentment. As long as I am happy and content, then I'm good. And so even these exercises that I work with people on, but then I've also been asked for myself as well, at the age of 90, what would your 90-year-old self say to your current age? Or what is it that you want to be happy about and look back and be grateful for when you're 90? Or at 90, what regrets would you have? Because of the way I lived my life of happiness first and contentment right after it, every time I would do that exercise, it would always be like, I'm fine. I am living my best life constantly. And that was a interesting exercise. I didn't know that's what would happen when I would reflect on it, but it was a affirmation for me of this is working. This lane of my life of happiness and contentment is working as well as it could. It's not perfect, but it's working well. And I stand by success for me being tied into happiness and contentment. The thing that's changed is money. I realized I had a money-sized hole in my heart. And when I started to
Yeah.
make money, I was like, oh, this feels good. And
Yes.
so I've added money to my list of successes because money gives you access.
Being great and being and getting paid
That's
for how
right.
great you are.
That is, 100%. As someone who grew up with a pastor dad and a mom who would switch a lot of like gig work, I didn't know what that was like. And then I started to make some money and I was like, oh, this feels good. This feels good. I want more. And so now success also has some money involved. I want some more.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
also help other people with the same because money is not money. Money is access, and access is power, and that allows you choice. And I'm big on having freedom.
It's a very important resource if you're looking to grow your business, to grow your personal brand, whatever that may look like. Having a substantial amount of resource helps a lot along the
Yep.
way.
It's required. It's a
Like spot on,
100%
like
required.
spot on.
Yes,
You gotta spend money to make money.
that's fortunately, yes, gotta part with it, but then more comes back, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A couple more questions for you as we start to wrap up today's session. What advice would you give someone who's struggling to overcome similar challenges in their hero's journey?
For every person, it's going to be something different, which is one of the hard things. I would have had a really easy answer for this. I realized even just 5 years ago, my answer to this question would have blindly been about my 7 way of seeing things, which is, and I'll still share it because again, anyone who's not a 7, they will still benefit from this. But 7s get a special answer. So for the non-7s, my 7 way of answering this question, when you are having similar challenges in your hero's journey where you're having difficulty and not wanting to push through, there is a gift and giving yourself not just gratitude, but the question of like, what if things went right? Optimism and letting that energy of gratitude and optimism, looking at the bright side and seeing what could go right is a lighter energy that brings yourself up and makes things truly easier because those other catastrophizing negative things, yeah, they're there, but they also are never going to stop being there by you overthinking about them. They're not here right now in front of you. And until they are, you don't have to deal with them and forecast all the negativity around it. But if you are optimistic and you start to really work on that muscle, things will get easier. So that's for all my non sevens. For
That's
my
great. Yeah.
sevens,
If
yeah,
I
go ahead.
if I may for a moment, you mentioned the seven. If we
Yeah.
were to describe what a seven is? Like, is there a category for a seven?
Yes, sevens are the folks that love to feel good and have a good time. They are the folks that they're going to find the joy and the excitement and the novelty and the bright shiny in all experiences as a way to constantly have that dopamine hit because it feels good. Why not? And so for all those non-sevens, there's something to learn from that. For us sevens, part of the experience and journey is when the time is right. This is not about tomorrow for anyone who is listening. It's at the right time for you. So let life show you when this will happen. I just want to let you know that it is not true that if you start to feel the pain, it will be forever. It will pass. And so don't be as afraid as you think you need to be about those experiences.
To echo a little bit about what you mentioned earlier about being grateful and also being optimistic, the universe loves grateful people. And a bit of optimism definitely helps along the way if you're encountering something difficult. But there's another phrase I really like from Les Brown, which is be patient, positive, and persistent. And
Mm,
it's almost on that same note.
I love
But
that.
yeah, with that said, Leigh, is there a last message you'd like to share with our viewers here today?
As whatever it takes to feel as good as possible, as often as possible, is what I would encourage you to do. Chase your happiness, chase your joy is always one of those high level lessons that I want to encourage and share. And really, it's one of those things of just live by example. So it's just me living my big smiley life. I know there's going to be people out there that will have that experience just through what's the word here? Empathetic introjection of energy. And so that's one of the high level pieces. Oh, my cat Timberlake wanted to say
Oh,
hi
all
as
right,
well. So
another
he
celebrity.
is
Well, I'll need a separate intro for for, for the cat.
absolutely. He is eager to join this call, which is another part of it. And then of
Probably has
course, if anyone
has a message to say as well.
if I could have gotten him to meow on here, I would have. That would have been something else. The other message I would just say professionally is if you are a small business owner, LGBTQ or woman who has employees, and you would like to chat, let's just chat to see what there could be as a possibility. Or if you're anyone that wants to chat about Enneagram, then go check out my website because you can learn more. And I love people and I love having conversations. And so that's my professional call to action that I want to share.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Leigh, for all of your insights. I look forward to more of your accomplishments. And like Leigh mentioned, if you're interested in just having a chat, please feel free to reach out to him. And also, if you're interested more about Enneagram, check out his website. I'll provide links in the in the bio for this podcast. With that said, Leigh, thank you very much. Appreciate your time here today, and wish you a wonderful Friday.
Oh my God. Yes, Friday. Thank you for doing this podcast. It is because you allow people the platform that others can get a chance to be inspired. And says so much about you. And you create change. And it's something that I very much admire.
Thank you very much, Leigh. Those are very beautiful words, and I much appreciate them. Great. With that said, everyone, we'll catch you all on the next episode of the Here in the Mirror. Cheers.